everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Mothers Reclaiming Our Youth event. Whether we decide to have children or not, over the course of our lives, we as women will take on the role of mother. We will become mothers to our children, to our ideas, to a legacy. However, with so many competing agendas in a complex society, fulfilling the role of a mother at the highest level has become quite challenging. So much that so many of us have experienced a desire to give it up and not give the process our best. The results of this are detrimental to our youth and to our world. It's time for us to reclaim our own youth, literally and figuratively. It's time for us to reconnect with what it means to see with a new perspective, as well as what it means to actively reclaim the youth in our communities. The CSW 59 event will explore ways of reclaiming their role of mother to our youth, in our communities, and in the world. We will hear powerful stories and strategies from women who have taken the role of mother full on. We will also honor the great mothers of the past and pave a way for women as mothers to collectively birth a new future. Thank you. Today's speakers will highlight the importance of mothers and youth in our communities in the world. I have the honor to introduce Queen Mother, Dr. DELOIS BLAKELY, the Chief Executive Officer of New Future Foundation, who will be making the opening remarks. In 1995, Queen Mother, Dr. DELOIS BLAKELY, became Community Mayor of Harlem, the first woman to hold this office. Queen Mother, Dr. Blakely, was appointed the Community Mayor of Harlem by the Chief of Community Mayors. She was sworn in by Mayor Rudolph Giuliani. Her duties as the Community Mayor of Harlem is to deal with the needs of youth and children, as well as the special needs for children who are homeless, handicapped, or are in foster care. Welcome, Queen Mother.
We always say before we do anything, we have to praise the Creator that gives us life and strength and allow us just to be present with each other. I'm going to ask Mama Gail to embrace us with that energy for a strong 1 minute. And then we will continue the program. Thank you.
I'm going to ask you to stand. At this time that we're in, this great time of transformation, we have the power to change the world by what we think, feel, say, and do. Every day gives us an opportunity to create a new world. And we can start by reaching out to each other. Just touch somebody. Just touch somebody. Just touch somebody. That's how we're going to change it. By reaching out to each other, by looking one another in the eyes, greeting one another with love, with peace, with humanity. So I call on the Creator of all creation, and I say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to ask you to do that. Gratitude is very, very important. Many of us walk in faith, and this is a period that there's a lot of fear in the world. So I ask you, Creator of all creation, to allow us to step out of fear and walk in faith. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you.
This is how we are going to reclaim. Come in, women, come in. We're going to ask the men to stand up and let the mothers sit down. Come on in. Come on up here. Come on up here. Don't look around. Just come on. Keep on coming. Keep on coming. Men, let the women sit down. Let your mothers, your sisters, and daughters sit down. Come on in, women. Come on up here. We have chairs empty just for you. Come on. You don't have to stand back there. Come on. Come on in. Come on into the circle. Come on, sisters back there. Come on in. Come on. Come into the circle. We have a space up here. It's about us. All of us. Sister, come on. I'm talking to you, Sister. Okay, you fine. You're doing something else back there. All right. I'll leave you alone with the camera. And saying to all of you, it took 20 years for this to happen. It took 20 years. Some of us went to Beijing, China. But before we went to China, we went to a place called Harlem. And we were able to get the women at the United Nations to come with me to Harlem for the spiritual and a healing renewal in the streets of Harlem. They came. And I'm happy that one of the well-known media in New York, the New York Times, captured it. Because 20 years later, I was still looking for the papers to tell the story. But they captured it, and Dog Hammarskjöld Library was able to find it, and congratulated Queen Mother in Harlem to start the story from Harlem to Beijing, China. Our delegation at that time was led by some of the most powerful women in the United States of America and around the world. One of those women that I'm rushing now to go see, and that's Mama Winnie Mandela of South Africa. She was a part of that journey from South Africa with us. And women from the Caribbean, they need a barrel. She was a governor and a great leader in the work of women from the Caribbean. And women from across the United States. Our delegation was made up of 39 women that was able to sojourn to China. And I only was able to arrive to pass out the papers for Queen Mother Moore. Queen Mother Moore and Mother Teresa Calcutta. The two elders at the Beijing high-level session or conference, they allowed us to pass out what they had to say because they did not arrive at the conference. But their voice had to be heard by member states. So I was given the opportunity, thanks to China. The government of China allowed Queen Mother to get into where the heads of states and the women, the first ladies, and member states of delegation walked. I was able to walk that path in the spirit of Queen Mother Audley Moore, who lived to be almost 100 years old. Queen Mother Moore was in Mexico. She was in Copenhagen. She was in Nairobi, Kenya. And she sent me to Beijing, China. I was in Nairobi, Kenya with her and spent a year on the ground in East Africa before we prepared for the Beijing conference. And thanks to our elder now, Margaret Kenyatta, President Jomo Kenyatta's mother, Margaret Kenyatta. Mrs. Kenyatta is now the First Lady of Kenya. Not the mother, but I would say the daughter-in-law of that family. and I think she's around also in the country. That year on the ground in Nairobi, Kenya, was a powerful year to watch the grassroots women bring in all of the fraction groups from across the country of Kenya to be a part of Nairobi, the Fourth World Conference that we had. And then as we moved on with the voice of grassroots women, then we went on into Beijing, China. I'm sure you're aware what happened in Beijing, China. If you're not aware, you need to begin to look at the history, because the women been talking about 20 years ago for the last few days here at this institution. If you went into many of the conferences, some of the soldier women are here, and they talked about Beijing, China. One of the women that did come and she spoke, and I didn't get an opportunity to see her, but she included us on her delegation, myself and Queen Mother Audrey Moore. And that's a woman by the name of Hillary Clinton. I served on her round table out of the White House. So I just wanted to raise up too. She also knew it was important to include all sectors of society of women to be a part of her delegation officially. So I was included in that number. So you need to understand and know that's what Miss Hillary Clinton was able to do. We were very pleased that she came to embrace her colleagues here at the United Nations. Not a dance, not a just we swinging out at the Apollo and rubbing the stump as we do in Harlem, the beat of sound and rhythm, but they talked about the issues of the women at the Apollo Theater all day long. And that was very powerful if you were there. And if you were not there, then I would advise you to look at the record. It's there for all to see, and encourage your sisters to look at the record, what happened at the Apollo Theater. It was a gathering over 2,000 women. Could you imagine in Harlem, women from all over the world getting into the Apollo Theater at 125th Street? The crossroads of the world is Harlem. Not 42nd Street. It's Harlem. That's the crossroad to the world. And the women recognized that and understood spiritually of the renewal and connecting as one. And they did it in a place called Harlem, in a village called Harlem, in a city called Harlem. There in Harlem, something else great happened there for us. At the Apollo Theater, you had drummers, spiritual drummers was outside of the Apollo Theater, and they drummed on the sidewalk. We want the women to come in and have a seat. Come on in, sisters. There's chairs. Make yourself at home with us. Come on in. We want you to come on in here. Thank you. Come on in, take a seat and sit down. And at the Apollo Theater, in the tradition and culture, there is a drum. There's a sound beat, which we started at the UN, and the young males continued that drum beat in front of the Apollo Theater when the women were leaving. They were leaving to join the march on 42nd Street in New York City with the Secretary General, Ben Ki-moon, and our first woman in charge of our Executive Director and Undersecretary of Women from our great country then called South Africa. We call her name many times. She's called by many names. Some of us can't always say her name, and I don't try to do that because of the tradition and culture. She's just my daughter. So my daughter is in charge of women of the world, and walking with them and the First Lady of the city of New York, it was one of the most powerful moves that took place in the city of New York with our Secretary General and Mrs. Banky, his wife. And we walked in the city of New York to Times Square. Saying all of this to say this to all of you is that you are part of that walk, and you are part of that spiritual journey that we are on. And it's only you can change what's happening to our children, to our youth, and reclaiming them. So this is the day that we would say that the Creator has allowed us to come together at the United Nations, raising our voice from Harlem to the United Nations, reclaiming our youth, reclaiming our children. And mothers, let us go forward reclaiming and asking the Creator, whatever force you have within yourselves that is greater than yourselves, asking you to hold that energy and reclaiming our youth, reclaiming our children, reclaiming ourselves. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mother, for everything. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Ozioma Egwuonwu, a CEO founder of Burn Light International and Chief Operating Officer of Rising Women Raising World. Burn Light Works, a 21st century empowerment company that specializes in initiating human potential through the creation of transformational experiences that elevate people, brands, and communities. Ms. Ozioma Egwuonwu founded Burn Light Works at the age of 25. She has been featured on NBC, appeared as an evening commentator on African independent television, graced the cover of the Guardian newspaper, and presented at the critically acclaimed South by Southwest Interactive Festival. She has worked as a cultural strategist in New York City and teaches a master-level course titled Developing and Implementing Ideas at Columbia University. In 2012, she invented the International Day for Dreamers, the first international platform to celebrate dreamers, visionaries, through live and virtual events held all over the world. Ms. Egwuonwu, welcome, and you have the floor.
Thank you, and thank you. Thank all of you for showing up today. Anyone who's ever heard me speak knows that I say that whoever shows up are the right people, and this is the right time. And what's going to happen here today is important because all of us have convened for a purpose, and that purpose is powerful. But what I want to do in my short remarks that I'm going to make with you today is to talk about the power of we-ness. What happens when we come together as a collective entity to create the transformation that is necessary? Because every single one of us, both men and women, have power. But with that power, there is always the presence of a shadow. And that shadow is lurking very apparently in this world right now. And these remarks that I'm going to make, it is not about sitting there and talking about boo-hoo and cautionary tales and be afraid. It is about celebration. And it is about activation. And it is about inspiration.
Yes.
Because we are here at the CSW for a reason.
Yes.
We are here to connect. We are here to express. And we are here to amplify. So let me talk about the necessary need that we have for amplification. And it's all about the power of we-ness. You can have and be a very powerful person individually, but it is nothing compared to when you come together and you start to express. And so I'm going to share a couple of remarks, and then I'm going to talk about strategy, because without strategy and action, nothing happens. So first, let's just talk about the notion of mother. I don't have any children, but I have many ideas, and I've mentored many youth. So when we talk about mother, what we're talking about is the energy, the spirit of nurturing, of creating, of protecting. That energy is present in women as well as in men. So for the men, do not tune out, because you are mothers as well. And so now that we understand that we are all mothers of ideas, of children, of communities, let us talk about what is it inside of us that is waiting to be expressed and birthed. And I believe that it is a new reality. there is a new opportunity for us to remake and reshape and reclaim the world. We can collectively co-create a new reality. So when we talk about mothers reclaiming our youth, we are talking about it in two ways. It is a double entendre. There is the youth as we know it in terms of reclaiming our spirit of innovation, reclaiming our youth. What does it mean to think differently? What does it mean to be an innovator? What does it mean to come up with new ideas and to innovate them in the world? And then there is the literal youth, the youth that exists in our world today, that we have to be able to reclaim and connect with and shape and support. So as you listen to my words, understand that that is what I'm talking about. The innovation and the spirit that lives inside of us, as well as the youth that are coming up behind us and that we are connecting to together. So we can't talk about possibility unless we talk about what stands in the way of it being expressed. So every time we talk about reclaiming our youth, we have to think about what gets in the way of it and what allows us to really, really be able to express it as mothers. And that is a conversation about our shadow and our shine. What is the shadow of mother? What I've seen with my work around the world with women, the shadow of the mother is the energy that holds on too tight. We all know about that mother, right? Holding on too tight, not letting anything happen, so focused on control. That is ego energy, right? And so when you're at your organizations and at the table with big, people who can make those ideas and move those things forward, are you being a mother that is in her shadow? Or are you being a mother that's in her light? Are you letting ideas come out and be expressed and move forward? Or are you saying, no, this is my piece of the pie? No, this is my NGO. No, we don't play around with that NGO. No, we don't play around with that audience. We're going to hold it tight. So for us to reclaim our youth and reclaim the spirit of innovation and leave a legacy for the youth coming up, we have to move beyond that shadow of mother and come into the light. So what is the shadow? What is the light of mother? The light of mother is the energy where she holds it up. Where she holds it up and she allows that uniqueness, that spirit, that positivity, that vision to be illuminated and shared. And when we are in our light as mothers, as creators, as nurturers, we allow ourselves to collaborate. We allow ourselves to connect. We allow ourselves to come together with that collective we-ness to create something even more magical than we ever had before. And I've seen that. I've seen that in organizations and what we're trying to do with New Future South Foundation. I've also seen that with the organization that I am the COO of, Rising Women, Rising World, which is a collective of women all around the world, like Jean Houston, like Scylla Elworthy, like many of the women, Ramamana, these women who are doing ground level work, women that are the energies of expression embodied in what we see in Queen Mother. Can we give her a round of applause? So now that we know about the energy of the shadow and the energy of our shine, what is necessary? There is a new order being created. And it is one that is about impact, and it is about accountability. So, when you think about your organization, and when you think about what it is you're out to create, who are you accountable to, and what are you accountable for? We're not here to waste each other's time. We are here to create real transformation that goes from the ground level, that can be felt by the women and the men at the ground level. Complete systems change. It is not about just having cool conversations and being able to brag and say, oh, I was at the CSW. I'm there at the United Nations. Oh, look at me. That's not doing the work. The work that's going to change a woman's life is learning what are those strategies, what are those implementation models, and then looking at your own community and saying, how can I bring that there? How can I create change there? Because if we're not doing that, then what are we doing here? But it starts first with vision, what I call the illuminated vision plan. First, you get it clear in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit. What is it that you, your organization, your community, what are you out to cause? What can be created? And then what actions will be taken? And you formulate it in a plan, written down in a plan, not just conversations. I cannot express, and I know I'm being very passionate right now, but the Spirit is moving inside of me Because there are so many times when we are having conversations and we don't write it down. And every time we do that, some woman can't come and work on that. So in your meetings, make sure things are being written down. And if you don't want to write them down, record them. There are women, there are youth coming up behind you that need those words, that need those strategies, that need that essence of your brilliance. So write it down, create the plan, formulate it, and take action. That is number one. Number two, accountability. Keep it present in your mind. Who am I accountable to? What am I accountable for? How can I be more accountable? What are the metrics? What are the systems? There are refugees all over the world that need your voice. There are women that are being beaten up in their homes that need your voice. And there are women at the high corporate level that need your voice. Hold them accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Hold the plan accountable. And finally, monitoring. We cannot just create the plans and plan for action and hold ourselves accountable. We have to continue to monitor. We have to practice the mindfulness that is moving through our society in leaps and bounds. We have to bring that into every single institution. So you, men and women, women and men, children that have convened here today, begin to think and see that vision even clearer. Begin to be willing to take more action. Begin to be even more accountable and be mindful and monitor. And together we will collectively co-create a new reality. Together we will burn bright. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Ms. Ndali Kashume, Speaking Womb's Chief Executive Officer and founder of Speaking Womb. Mrs. Ndali Kashume is a two-time transformational author and educator. She is a prolific motivational life coach and inspirational speaker. She's the author of self-help book, Redefine Our Existence, and an expert in the human development field. She is reputable for being a motivating speaker on self-help topics and a powerful advocate for women and girls leadership. In her personal capacity, she serves as an educator and life coach to the youth, women, and young men. In her books, Ndali shares self-help tools that encourage living a life of transformation. Welcome, Ms. Ndali, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here today. This is really, really something that one can say is very important. Thank you so much, Queen Mother, for your excellent work. I must say your energy alone is what fuels me in so many ways. Very often when I am engaging with Queen Mother, whether it's on the phone or whether it's in person, and I'll say, Queen Mother, just, and she's like, okay, sorry, I'm already gone. So she moves very fast. She's much younger than I am. But yes, thank you for this platform and for being able to share with you a few comments today. I'd like to tell you about the women in central of Angola. There's a tribe called the Huambo, the Obingundu tribe. And this tribe is made up of, it is a patrilineal tribe that comes from the central part of Huambo. And you will also find this tribe in the northern parts of Namibia. And there's an interesting practice that happens when a woman is about to bring forth a child. She goes under a tree and she asks the child to sing a song. And this is before the child has even been conceived. And she sends out that energy and asks for this child to sing the song. And she sits there waiting patiently for the child to sing the song. And when she hears this song, she memorizes the song. So I've been asked to speak louder, maybe I'll hold the microphone. So as I was saying, when the woman hears the song, she is prompted to memorize it. And after she has memorized the song, she then goes to the person that she is going to conceive this child with, and she teaches him the song. And when that child is conceived, and when the child is born, the first thing that this woman is prompted to do is to sing that song to the child. So this song is seen as an internal compass for this child. It is the compass that should bring comfort to the child. It is the comfort that should remind the child of who they are. It is the compass that should reinstall all the values that this child is being taught in their lifetime. This child, whether being male or female, is always told that when you are in life, no matter where you are in life, you sing this song when you come across adversity, when you come across challenge, when you come across questions that you need to know the answer. You always sing your song so that your song can bring you back to who you are. And it is within that self-knowledge that you will know the answer to your question. It is within that self-knowledge that you will know who you are and how to navigate in this world. Now, I came to this country by myself about 5-6 years ago. And really, I did not have a coined out plan. However, I do believe that the energy that called me here was strong enough to make me that crazy enough to come here with that, type of ambition. During my coming here, I did experience various challenges as we human beings do experience. And I do remember the one day I called my mother and I said, I'm going through this and I somehow can't navigate this, what should I do? And I told her I was living in Harlem, and then she said, but you are in the midst of many mothers. You're not in trouble. She said, seek out your mothers. And the first thing was like, oh, well, how do I just approach somebody and say, this is the problem that I'm having? But being in Harlem, one of the things that I used to often do was study the history of Harlem. And I know the different phases that Harlem has been through. There was a time when Harlem was very much drug infested, and the youth were in a huge discourse with their families, and the family unit was broken. And that was a very interesting time. However, I do believe that the women still held it down. Yes. Because for Harlem to survive through so many generations, that means that things were still intact to a certain degree. We have a justice system in this country that I believe is a shame to humanity. It's almost inhumane to think that we have children, the youth, as young as 14 years old, locked up in what we call correctional facilities. I do believe that humanity has come to a point where we have advanced in such a way that we are able to come up with more serving ways to deal with, let's say, the misbehavior of our youth. I very often draw back to the setting of the family units and how important it is. And I do believe that in order for mothers to reclaim our youth, so to say, and that's really a very in-depth topic to think about, because there's so many levels that our youth need to be reclaimed. But yes, in order for our youth to be reclaimed, the family unit needs to be healed. The youth learn from their parents. The youth, they learn from their mothers, they learn from their fathers, they learn from watching. And so when we have youth who spend a lot of times on the streets and not being educated, not spending time with the family, that means they're learning elsewhere and they're not learning within the family units. And a lot of problems come because of this. About 2 years ago, the idea came to me to establish the Speaking Rooms organization. And very often I do find myself having to explain that name. People say, Speaking Rooms, what are you trying to say? And I say, well, I believe that when a woman speaks from the depth of her womb, wisdom is born. So the womb is a very sacred place where, yes, children are born, but also wisdom is born. And very often you find that mothers who nurture their children with a sense of wisdom. It's rarely that we nurture our children with what we learn, in school, but we nurture our children with what is within us. And so if we have family units that are broken or that are defragmented, we are not nurturing our children with what they need. We're not giving our children the backbone that they need to have in order for them to be the great people that they ought to be in life. Many a times you find that in households, children are raised to respect the elders, which is a very good quality. And it does sometimes happen that that is not really a two-way street where you sort of, as a child, you're told what to do, and you're not allowed to ask questions, and you're not allowed to express your views. And what happens is youth tend to draw away from the parents. They tend to draw away from adults. And so they tend to draw to other things. And the relationship becomes, hurt. And that does not really include the element of transformation. I believe that women, we ought to connect with our children in a transformative manner, where we see our children, yes, as our children, but we, like Ozioma said, not with a sense of ownership, but with a sense of harnessing and nurturing the relationship with our children and our youth. Now, the question of how we are going to set up strategies, or how we're going to implement working ways that will support mothers reclaiming their youth and that would support healing broken family units is really a vast question. To be honest, I don't know, and I believe that we all don't fully know how that looks like, but the certain models that support healing systems, the certain models that support the weaving together of the family unit is what is important to look at. Being here at the CSW 59 and connecting with so many women from all over the world is also a sense of healing, because we get to hear our experiences, various individual experiences and various individual views, and also just get to share the challenges that we're all experiencing. I mean, the challenges of youth being involved in practices that don't really serve them is a global thing. It's a worldwide thing. Drug abuse, alcoholism, youth dropping out of schools, that's a worldwide thing. And it's a worldwide challenge for all mothers and all women. And so yes, we do often wonder, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to support our youth? How are we going to deal with all these challenges that we are faced with? Queen Mother for me has been, I would say Queen Mother for me has been one of those people who have not only demonstrated a deep sense of commitment to the youth, but who have really lived by example. And I still do consider myself as a youth, and just watching her in this mission that she has aspired to take on is still an educating process. So I would leave you with this, that even though we do not have all the answers to solve the challenges that we are experiencing, let us continue to be examples to our youth in the best way that we possibly can, because the youth still learn from watching what the elders do. Even though it may not seem so, we are still watching, we're still learning. So I thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ndali. I have the honor to introduce Ms. Ashley Knox, who is the founder of Go Beyond Greatness, a college and career preparation program that supports the millennium generation for success. Ashley develops educational programs that inspires youth to develop the skills they need to succeed, with an emphasis in leadership, effective communication, and positive behavior. Ashley holds an MPS from SUNY New Paltz in Humanistics and Multicultural Education, and bachelor's in Sociology with focus in Spain, Latin American, and African Studies. She is the Study Abroad Coordinator for the Office of International Programs at Mount St. Mary College. Ashley serves on the board of Rethink Local, a nonprofit organization that supports local businesses and community in co-creating a better Hudson Valley. She is also a board member of Freedom Solar Alliances, a renewable energy company with a mission to create clean energy consumption in New York City. Overall, Ashley comes with a deep passion in holistic education, empowering young people to unlock their innate talents and abilities for high achievement and life success. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you feeling?
Wonderful.
Are you ready to reclaim our youth?
Yes.
I said, are you ready to reclaim our youth?
Yes.
All right, I am too. I am Ashley Knox, and before I get started, I just want to thank these beautiful, wonderful feminine warriors allowing me to share the table and speak on behalf of what does it take to reclaim today's youth in a society that is extremely complex, in a society that is extremely influential when it comes to the mindset and the behavior that our children decide to take. I don't know where I wanted to begin, and I feel like I don't want to be as structured as I thought I would be. You inspired me in terms of the song and being able to pass down something that's inspirational so that when you reach a certain milestone in your life and you feel like you cannot go any further, whether you're a mother, a child, a man, a husband, a wife, an aunt, an uncle, whatever role that you played, that you could sing that song and build back that motivation, build back that level of resiliency, because we all know that we are here not to fail but to succeed. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. Go Beyond Greatness was an inspiration after the loss of my mother 8 years ago. I lost her at 44. I was a mother, a new mother. My son's here. He's 9 years old now. Robert Patterson Brown Jr., age 9. Say hi to the people. Not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot. Let them know that you're here. Yes, and it was an interesting journey for me, coming from Hudson Valley, Ulster County. Does anyone know where Ulster County is?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a few people that know. Hey, hey, Ulster's in the house.
Way up there.
There we go. And I lost my grandmother in her 50s. So when it comes to being a woman and what does it mean to be a mother, what does it mean to be a woman, my understanding and social construction as I gave birth to my son was through memory and being able to tap into the spiritual realm on what do I need to do to provide a life of success for my son, for myself. And so I would sing this song that I just want to sing before I get started on what does it take to inspire young people to bring out their greatness and to achieve, because you only live once is what my mother said. And she always told me, Ashley, you never know when I'm going to leave this world, so appreciate me now. Oh mom, you know how it is with children. Oh mom. And when she did pass, I was in my 20s. I said, how am I supposed to do this thing called life? How am I supposed to do this thing called life? And the song that came to me goes a little bit like this. You ready? If you're ready, let me hear you say, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I needed that. Life was made for living, so you better start living. Living, yeah. I'm talking about living, yeah. Life was made for living, so you better start living. Living, yeah. I'm talking about living, yeah. And then I realized I had to wake up and enter into this other place called adulthood. The big stage in life that we're all trying to prepare our young people for. I've been working in academic advisement and working with young people, to be honest with you, since the age of 14, because the thing that my mother and my grandmother instilled in me is you find your passion in life early on. Find your passion so that you can take advantage of the most vulnerable years of your life, but it's also the most exciting years of your life. It's called adolescenthood. And you utilize your community and the resources and the people and the family around you so that you can build and hone your skills and your inner talents and ability, so that when you become of age, there is no question besides success for yourself. And as mothers, it is our duty to inspire our children to live a life of purpose and by design, not by coincidence. Oh, I'm so happy that this happened to me. But to inspire your young people to identify, what do they want in life? What do you want in life? I say to my son, we call him Jules for short. Jules, what do you want to do in life? And what do you want to be in life? Is what I ask him. And that's what my mother asked me. And that's what my grandmother asked my mother. And that's what I ask the children that I work with through Go Beyond Greatness. And in knowing that, as mothers, it is our duty to support children as far as their dreams and their goals, and set up the playground so that they can build upon their skills, be able to build and increase their self-confidence so that there's no doubt in terms of failure, but to understand failure as the stepping stones to figure out what else do they need to grow and build upon for life success. And so I'm so grateful that Ozioma invited me to come down to the Big Apple, New York City, because I'm a country girl at heart, if you haven't noticed. And I said, oh gosh, what am I going to say to all these people? And when it comes to best practices, our goals as mothers is simple. Our goal is to help our children reach their goal. Our goal is to help our children reach their goal. And when I think about what is needed for that to take place, the first thing comes exposure. Exposure from an early age. I have people saying, why do you have your son involved in so many things? Because this is the time for him to explore who he is. How can anyone succeed in life if you don't know who you are? And in order to know who you are, you need to be exposed. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, all right. As I inspire young people to understand that every day is not promised, and so you bring out your best self every single day. And you understand that you are here for a divine purpose, and you are here to share that divine purpose with others as we elevate and this world goes round for more positive change within the society. And he says to me, I had a quote that my mother used to say to me when I was younger. And it goes like this. Never rest until your good is better and your better is best. Never rest until your good is better and your better is best. And again, when it comes to reclaiming our youth, life is extremely complex. We can have all the keys and strategies you want, but when the button hits play, you gotta go with the flow. You gotta pray for the best. You gotta make sure that you got a support system around you as much as you can. And if you can't find it there, then that's a sign that you need to go elsewhere. Because children are the leaders of our future. And if children are the leaders of our future, then the question is how do we make sure that we nurture them and guide them in a way for them to be socially responsible, respectful, be able to hone a level of leadership where they are the changing agents that take this nation, take us globally to a better sense of, what are they calling it now? Sustainable living, right? Sustainable living. And so, to close, reclaiming our youth is honestly about helping young people to identify who they are and what they want to do, or kind of even want to do, but just to get them out there and practice. And not only practice, but put them around other people that don't know what you know, so that you're building your child to be an all well-rounded individual with the expectation to succeed. Thank you, I'm Ashley.
Thank you. I would like to thank all our wonderful speakers for their insightful remarks. It has been rewarding to hear each of your perspectives on this topic. Queen Mother, would you like to introduce?
To the youth that are going to speak, one of the things we want you to know, we as mothers not going to leave you. So as you speak, you can come and be with the mothers up here.
My real name is Robert Patterson-Brown. My real name is Robert Patterson-Brown. You can call me Jules. Any questions? And
It's okay.
my age is 9.
See how mothers
My age is
must help?
9, and I'm turning 10 in April. I'll be explaining like what is it to be the son of the go beyond greatness.
Okay, come on, all right now.
The son of it. I mean, I don't know much about it, but I hope a lot of it. Like first, we had like it was hard to get like everywhere. We had like time was like kind of enemy, because we were all in Kingston, and my mother, I was in Kingston, my mother was in Newburgh, so it was all separated, so it was hard to do transition. So it was kind of hard. But now it's starting to get easier. Not all the way easy, but it's starting to get easier. But it's a decent kind of like. It doesn't have to. I mean, if you want something to be easy, it doesn't have to be like all the way like, oh, I can do this with one hand. I can do this with one hand and one eye blindfolded. Like it doesn't have to be like that.
I have a question. What do you think parents and mothers can do to help children go further in life?
Parents and stuff, mothers, they help their children to get farther in life by like staying with them, not like just leaving them. Like a lot of kids, like when that happens, they think that the parents care more or less than them. So if you stay with them, then they will start to like ask you questions like, Mom, how do I do this? Or tell them everything. Like, Mom, this happened. Or like, someone's bullying me. Or something like that.
Thank you.
My name.
Right on.
My name is Michael Jones. I'm in the 10th grade and I'm 15. And everybody hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. Sorry. But I say reclaiming youth, we have to start within our communities. Communities including education systems, within homes. I feel like we need leaders, we need mentors, like this lady, Miss Ashley said. We need leaders, we need people to help, mold us into young men and young women. When we mess up as youth, instead of people scolding us and looking down on us, maybe they should help us, try to guide us through, teach us wrong from right. Some people don't have a solid foundation at home where their parents teach them or they have families. So that's when we come and lean on the mothers in the community. If you don't have structure, if you don't have a solid foundation, you have nothing. You have to have somebody to lean on, somebody to guide you, somebody to mentor you, somebody to teach you things. Because if I don't know something and I do it wrong, and you come and scream at me, or you imprison me, you have to let me know, listen, this is wrong. You understand? Give us a standard, teach us standards as young men and young women. Don't have us just out there. But that's all I wanted to say. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Hello, I want to discuss about the importance of reclaiming our youth, and just reclaiming our youth from all cultures and from all backgrounds. I come from a biracial family, and on both sides of my family, I was terrorized. Like, I was always the one on the other side, and I always felt like forgotten. And I tried my hardest. Like, I come from South Central Los Angeles, and most of the people who I went to high school with you know, they didn't make it to college. I made it to college. I even made it to law school by myself without any community. Even when I get to law school, I feel incredibly alone. And it's really hard for me at this point where I'm like trying to do this on my own. It's difficult. No child deserves to do it on their own. And we need all children to realize their potential. Because it benefits us all. Thank you.
You're not alone. As you look around, you begin to feel a mother's energy. And it doesn't have to be your birth mother. It's your extended mothers, it's your community mothers. And just lean on those mothers. Turn to those mothers. And you'll see the response that you will get. And what I want to say to you, and I'm sure that all the women in here want to say the same to you, our daughter. First of all, we're proud of you. That you're achieving. And you're doing what you must do. And it's okay that you may stumble a little bit. We all did that. I left home when I was the age of 16 years old. I made a decision to leave home. And mothers, extended mothers, guided me. Guided me. At a point in life, sometime, you don't know when you get this, it's sort of like an urge, you got to go on and do something differently. From the neighborhood, from the children. But continue to move on. We love you. We are proud of you. And you have all these mothers in the room. Just stay reconnected with us. And tell all your little friends the same thing. I walk the streets. I live in the streets. You'll find Queen Mother in the streets. Not hard to find me. And Queen Mother is in the pubs and the clubs. And Queen Mother is the Queen Mother of hip hop. And I would do my hip hop on you. I have my sneakers. Cool Herc.
Yes.
KRS-One. Africa Mombada.
Yes.
Has changed the world with hip hop.
Yes. Yes.
All over the planet Earth, they're hip hopping.
Yes.
I went to one of the indigenous villages where they call the young people go when they put on their little shorts and going to save the world, called peacekeepers. In the most far places, the young people had the beat of hip-hop. They had the beat of hip-hop. And it started in a place called the Bronx.
That's right.
And the Bronx has changed the world with hip-hop. So Queen Mother is a hip-hop Queen Mother. And this little one here is she's a child too, but she's our oldest youth in the room.
Yes.
And the oldest youth in the room want to say something, so I have to give the oldest youth in the room the mic. And let the oldest and the youth speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. I feel that all women are mothers of the world. My candle is burning at both ends. When you see a child that's doing something wrong, tell them. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And let us just be kind to each other. And let's remember that we were children once ourselves. Let's remember that there is a creator that made all of us. And we have to turn to our creator. He loves us. And we're going to get through this.
Okay.
Amen.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine.
Wonderful. Praise the Lord. I'd just like to start off by saying my name is Briera Woods. I'm from Philadelphia,
and I currently attend Overbrook High School. One of the topics that I want to talk about today is black on black crime and how we're losing so many young African American kids, and for what? Over what? Because somebody looked at you the wrong way or somebody stepped on your sneakers, but it's all not worth it. And I also wanted to talk about the rise of teenage depression and suicide. You know, with so many young kids killing themselves nowadays and having unnecessary pressure put on them, and they have to take on so many adult responsibilities, and they're just kids. And, you know, also how some kids of this generation just don't care. You know, I just never seen a generation of kids that just don't care about their future and, you know, what's to come. And I blame this on the music, excuse me, I'm sorry, and the subliminal messages that are on TV and what they tell these kids, you know. And most children look up to these artists and they listen to these words that they're saying and they think it's the right thing to do and that's the way to be, but it's not. Also, the closing of schools and rehabilitation centers and how they're just building more prisons for these kids instead of having after school activities for them to do, you know, instead of being out on the street selling drugs and just getting into all kinds of trouble. And we need to change that. And a change needs to be made now, right now. And we can start by making a change in the schools, Philadelphia. And we can get help making these changes with Mama Joy and Mama Gail as well. And, you know, another thing I just like to say before I close is that uneducated youth means uneducated adults. And we are the future, and we are the leaders. Thank you, everybody.
Our young people are not lost.
No, they're not.
Nothing lost about that. I think what we're doing today is what we're supposed to do. Reclaim our youth.
Let's hear them.
They're waiting for us just to reclaim them. I think it's reclaiming them with the direction that they're asking us to do with them.
That's right.
That's what's happening. And it's good to hear the voices tonight. We need the nurturing in the direction where we need to be in balance of life and be able to live our lives. And that's what I hear in the penal systems.
Yes.
When I see mothers right here in New York City, you don't even have to go to Rikers Island. Go downtown near the mayor's house, the courthouse in New York City. There is a jail right there. And there you see the mothers bringing the children, the babies, to the prisons to visit, most of the time their fathers that are there. So again, with the mothers' spiritual energy and the healing of their prayers and reflection of their own lives. I'm talking about mama now. I'm talking about mama, not the children. Our responsibility for our children. We must humble ourselves and pray and ask the force greater than ourselves to change the conditions and protect and love our children. And with that, there is another young man has something to say for a minute, and we're going to turn it out for a few others to say something for a minute. Come on over here, warrior.
Yes. Yes.
How you doing, everybody?
Hi, how are you?
My name is Nasser. I'm a 10th grader.
I know you don't speak that softly on the basketball.
That's right. Come on, black man. Open up them lungs.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Frightened right now.
That's all right, sweetheart. You among family. You don't have to be frightened.
Very fearful.
Go ahead.
Just a few minutes ago, I was running away from my future. scared to speak in front of you all. Because I sat back there, and with wisdom, I listened to knowledge speak, and I observed.
Yes.
I took that quote from Jimi Hendrix last night. When knowledge speaks, wisdom listens.
Yes.
And as a youth, I believe we need the role models and leadership of the adults, the mothers and fathers,
Yes, sir.
to observe and influence us.
Okay.
A book I picked up yesterday in a Black and Nobel bookstore. If you ever come to Philadelphia, you should visit it. The 12 Universal Laws of Success by Herbert Harris. Chapter 1 touches on the law of thought, the subconscious, superconscious, and the conscience of the mind. And what shapes the conscience is your influences, what you observe, the people around you. And whatever they do, you model yourself. It shapes your behavior. And for a while now, I've been lost in my own shadow, scared of my potential. Because the youth and the people that I'm around that haven't, brought out that potential in me, I feel a loss of connection there, but also a yearning to change that and be a part of that. And I just would like to thank all the mothers and fathers here for bringing me out of my shadow and giving me some strength to come up here and speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want our hip-hop representative. Her name is Infinite. I want Infinite to come and hit it.
Okay.
About mothers reclaiming our youth.
Yes. Infinite. Come on, Infinite.
I really wasn't prepared today, but usually what I do is just whatever comes to my head. And today we're talking about mothers, we're talking about youth. So I think it's just important. What I do is basically a hip hop activist. I go into the communities, I talk to the children, I talk to the youth, I'm 33 years old, so I talk to people in my age range, and I know I don't look that old, but it's a reason because I have to be able to talk their language, I have to be able to get to where they're at and give them the message that we're trying to bring and bridge the gap. Queen Mother has done a great job in her years of work by doing outreach and youth outreach and bringing Harlem to the UN. And we had a great time at the Apollo. I had the opportunity to bring the drummers out. And when the women came out the Apollo, if you were there, you already know the drummers were there because of Queen Mother. And she was in where she was supposed to be, but we were still there in front of the Apollo, and we had the ladies dancing outside, and it was great. And I feel like music is what brings us together. And it's the universal language. And if you don't like music, then what are you doing? We all love music, and we all need music, and we all need inspiration. And with that, I guess I can give you a few bars of what I do, and you guys can hear it.
Come on, bring it, young sister. Come on, Queen.
The world's in need of love, dying in sin, drowning in blood, with these gangsters banging and shorties slinging, trying to be thugs. It's like we're cursed starting from birth since the beginning of time. Life's a battle. I'm a soldier fighting on the front line. It's like I'm fighting daily, but the war I'm fighting is not carnal. I'm on my knees praying, hoping that we live to tomorrow. It's all vanity, living in this world of insanity. Every minute passing is like a waste of time. It's killing me. There must be more to living than this daily routine, working 24/7, trying to fulfill all of these dreams. Life's a discovery, trying to find out who's the being in the mirror. I look in my own eyes and see there's nobody realer than me. I gotta say it to live out my destiny. God's chosen soldier, steady spitting all this poetry from the beginning to the end, from the end to the win. We got to make it, we got to try again. We got to keep on doing it, we got to let them know that we can win. And that's the end.
Hello, my name is Liz Hernandez, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
No, we want to say more than that. Come on, Elizabeth, don't get down like that.
Okay, well, it was an honor to get invited to come, and it's nice that we have a chance to be together, even though there is not every day.
Thank you. We have to have a woman scientist here and she's a part of our team, and she is a researcher. Say one word, and then she's going to talk to you later. Go right ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, friend. My name is Zhu Feng. I come from China. And in China, our old leader have a word. The woman can lift half of the heaven. And I believe we can. In my family, I lift the third quarter of the family. So at this moment, as a woman, as a mother, I believe every mother would our children be healthy. This is the reason I contribute my life to the health career. And as you know, in this moment, in the West Africa, the Ebola is still hurting the people. So our group, with the Queen Mother, we are develop a economically effective, safety, anti-Ebola drug. But as you know, most of the pharmaceutical company just focus to make money. But for Ebola drug, maybe it's difficult to make money. This is the reason we face the financial support from the venture capital. So we appeal for the public to support our subject. This subject will be carried out in the National Laboratory in Galveston. We have a website which is on the back, queenmother.genecloningxyz.com. We have the organized for the artists, they contribute their artwork, sell on the website to raise money to support this subject. We are here to appeal for everybody, every mother, to support for this subject. Thank you.
There again is coming from a mother concerned about issues, and as a scientist, she's in the laboratory, and we're very proud of her as one of our mothers, reclaiming our youth.
I just want to say I'm honored to be here, and I was asked to come as a guest speaker about Queen Mother and Mama Gail. I'm a writer and reporter from One Step Away Homeless newspaper in Philadelphia, and I'm an advocate and advocate for homeless children and also foster children. And they are the population that somehow that is silent, that we don't seem to have a voice for. So when we're mothering, let's not leave out the foster care children as well. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
I just want to say to all of the youth, if you are a youth, can you please stand up? And I want you to repeat after me. I am a universal child. All the world waits my coming. All the world watches with interest to see what I shall become. Civilization hangs in the boundaries for what I am. The world of tomorrow will be. I am a universal child. You have brought me into this world, about which I know nothing. You hold in your hands my destiny. You determine whether I shall succeed or fail. Give me, I beg you, a world where I can walk tall and proud. Train me, as is your duty, unto me, to love myself, my people, and to build and maintain a universal nation. Grace and peace.